Hey, it's a beautiful Saturday morning. Where are all of the kids? Not too crowded on the basketball court today. Actually, there is no one. And the tennis courts are pretty open as well. So here's the question, where are all the kids? Where are the kids? Oh yeah. Looks like I found the kids. It's the game Fortnite. It's a Fortnite type of Saturday morning.
Dad, I can't see. Please move.
My bad. Okay, this is better now. Now, kids love gaming. A lot of kids love gaming. And games are everywhere. Everywhere we have a screen. Can be on your mobile device, could be an iPad, a gaming console, desktop system. There probably some other system that I don't even know of that's just started to appear. But it's ubiquitous. It can be everywhere. But here's the thing. As parents, we don't know what effect gaming is going to have on our house when we first bring it in. So say we have a child that really wants a gaming console for their birthday or something like that. We don't know what kind of effect that's going to have when we do bring it in, because some kids will just incorporate it into their normal sort of play. You know, take it or leave it, do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Some kids try it for a while and then they lose interest, kind of gathers dust. But there are some kids in which gaming becomes really a bit of an obsession. And that's the sort of thing that we want to prevent if we can as parents. When this happens, other activities start to fall off. We want our kid to be doing other things, keeping up with their homework, practicing the cello, going out and hanging out with friends and doing stuff like that, getting out on a beautiful day. So the conflicts begin, and it gets to be a bit of a tug of war between the parent and the child. It's a Saturday morning and the child's downstairs in their pajamas. It's 11:30, no breakfast. The parent comes down. When are you going to start on your homework? How long are you going to play this thing? You know, it's kind of amazing how we can bring this sort of technological miracle gaming system into our home, and it causes conflicts that weren't there before. So this is exactly the situation that we want to try to prevent. And actually, there are two things that we can do before a gaming system is even purchased that can have a positive effect on anticipating problems that may occur down the road. Now, if this seems like an interesting subject, tap on the subscribe icon and on the bell icon. There's probably going to be a couple other videos that follow this series that gets into this topic in more depth. This is only the first one. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be completely negative on gaming. I'm only negative on gaming getting out of control. There are many positive aspects of gaming that, if you're not a gamer, you may not be that aware of. And I'll go over just a couple very briefly. A lot of games have a pretty strong social aspect to them. Your child may be playing a game with other kids in the neighborhood or from school or even across the country in a team-like environment, developing strategy in order to proceed further and further into that game. A good example of this would be a game like Overwatch or Valorant, even Call of Duty to some degree. And there are other games that really engage kids in lots of problem solving. The older Zelda games actually would be a good example of that, in which you could have kids individually or as friends come over, actually trying to solve very complex puzzles. And there are other games that can expose our kids to certain aspects of history. Battlefield might be an example of that, in which some kids actually can be compelled to learn more about a subject because they're exposed to it in gameplay. There are still other games that involve building activities of all sorts. Minecraft is probably a very good example of that, in which kids are building things in the virtual world. Sometimes they're actually building simulated environments that take on a life and behavior of their own. So this can be a very creative activity. There could even be an entrepreneurial aspect to this with some kids. Some kids get very interested and they learn how to make their own games, DIY. Then they upload it to a platform like Steam, where other kids can download and start playing their games. And in some cases, it can even be monetized on a platform like that, so some income can occur. Rarely, but it does happen. And a final thing I will mention is that gaming can actually lead kids into things that actually have a positive career direction. For example, they might get interested in software programming, coding. They might become interested in the art aspects of the game, in creating environments and artwork, animation, CGI. And games have music, and the music has to be composed by someone. So there are a lot of different career paths that gaming can actually lead to. So there are these positive aspects. So there are two important things that we can do as parents that help prevent gaming from getting out of control. And I recommend strongly that you do this before the gaming system is actually ordered. Not when it's coming in the door and being unpacked, but actually before the order is placed. These two things do not take a lot of time to do, and they both work together, and they can be quite effective in preventing problems from arising in the future. What you're going to do is have a family meeting about purchasing the gaming system. And family meetings can be very powerful in modifying behavior, resolving problems, or even anticipating problems that may occur in the future. So much so that I think one of my best videos is on family meetings, and you can find it here. In this family meeting, you're going to all get together, you're going to sit down, cell phones off, and you're going to talk about this anticipated purchase of a first gaming system. And you want to let your kids know that you have some concerns that need to be discussed and addressed before you proceed and order the gaming system. But don't tell them what these concerns are. Ask them what they think your concerns may be. And you'll be surprised. They'll know what some of these are right up front. They'll understand that you're concerned about homework or other activities like sports activities or practicing the piano or whatever other activities the kids are engaged in. But draw them out a little bit. Get them to come up with their own ideas for what concerns you might have. Get a discussion rolling on this stuff. If they miss some concerns that you have already in your mind, encourage them to come up with them. You might have to actually prod them a little bit and say, what happens if, for example, I want to watch TV and you're playing games on it? Or your sister wants to watch TV with a friend and you're doing gaming on the same television. How do you resolve a conflict like that? And you want to have a good, constructive conversation about this. You don't want it to be the sort of thing that kind of dissolves in giggling and laughter and isn't taken seriously. But if you haven't ordered the game system yet, you have control, because you can say, hey, if we're not having a serious conversation about this, I'm not going to go ahead and place that order. So you're in a power position and you can play that in this particular situation. Now, if you know parents that have kids that are interested in gaming, might be purchasing a gaming system soon, I would love it if you would smush down the share icon so that they can tap into some of these ideas as well. Now, make sure in this family meeting that all aspects of your concerns are addressed. Use your imagination. Think of the conflicts that can arise. Think about that kid down the neighborhood that's really, really into games and their parents have a hard time getting them off that. You might talk about hours of gaming, when gaming starts, how to deal with gaming and homework, how to deal with conflicts that might arise when somebody else wants to play a different game, for example, or it's time for dinner. The goal is to develop sort of policies for these things. So if they do arise, and in many cases they do, you will have a way to address them because you've already discussed them. You've already talked about them. But discussion is not enough. There is a step two. And the step two, you want to write these down. Actually, you want your child or children to write these down. You do not want to write these down. You see what I'm talking about here? I want kids to take complete ownership for this new powerful technology, gaming, that's coming into the home. So you want them to write down the things you've decided. If you have a policy on homework and gaming, that should be written down. A policy on what happens when I ask you to walk the dog, how quickly do you get off the gaming system? Stuff like that. It'll be different for every family, although I think the homework will probably be pretty common. But these need to be written down and they need to be put on a piece of paper in a place that is prominent that other people can see. Maybe it's on the bulletin board or maybe it's on the refrigerator, wherever that place is in your home so it is prominent. It's really going to be helpful to have these in writing. It makes it real. So here are just two examples. It's, as I said, it's going to be individual for your family. But you might have one where your child says, I am not going to begin any gaming until my homework is completely done. And by the way, that is a good policy. But some kids are very self-disciplined and they can actually do a little bit of gaming before they start homework. But myself personally, I would not have been able to resist that. Another example, you might want to have a policy in place for what happens when someone else wants to use the TV. Say we have the gaming console hooked up to one 55-inch screen TV. Your daughter wants to really watch a certain show at 4 o'clock and your son wants to do video gaming. How do you deal with that? How do you prevent conflicts from occurring in that situation? Get these things down so that they are policies, and this will help prevent problems from occurring. It won't solve everything, clearly not. And also I will say, you've got to consider this to be a dynamic document. Okay, document, well, it's just a couple ideas and policies on the refrigerator, but I'm going to call it a document. You need to understand that this may change. It may need tweaking. You may add new lines. And what you can do is get together again, have a quick family meeting, and simply discuss, hey, we've got a problem here. What are we going to do? We've got to solve this problem in order for us to be successful in having gaming in our house. In closing, I'm just going to say that this family meeting concept is one that I really strongly recommend. Really great to watch that video I did earlier. I really think that's one of the best topics in this whole series. It's just an excellent tool to develop and can be very, very helpful in anticipating problems that may occur or solving problems that you have in the family. And there's certain ways to do it. That's why watching that other video can be helpful. It might be a little awkward for some families, for kids and adults. Why do we have to get together? Why do we have to talk about this? Let's just get the gaming system. It really can be an effective way of preventing problems from occurring down the road. So I hope you found these ideas useful in bringing video gaming into your family life, and also that you got some positive ideas about some of the benefits that kids can get from gaming. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video, which will probably also be about gaming. Thanks.